Do you ever have one of those days where you keep losing battle after battle? You keep digging that hole deeper and deeper. The depression and despair grows bigger and bigger. And you finally think, maybe I'll just win this game. You try climbing out of the hole, you pop your head out, and smack, you get kicked right in the forehead and go all the way back down. Well, that's what happened to me, basically, today, while playing my Object 260, a vehicle that I actually really enjoy. And the thing that's infuriating for me is that I played my Object 260 for about 8 games, and out of those 8 games played, I won a single battle. And it's not like I did bad. You know, we got our Yukon game here, 3400, Dynasty's Pearl, 45, Fort Bay was 34. The first game I played was a massive chunk at 6100 damage. In fact, I averaged over 3,500 damage playing this tank with those 8 battles. And it makes me so angry that I love the playstyle of this tank. I absolutely adore how mobile it is, the great gun, but at the same time, it always makes me feel when I'm losing and doing really bad in a vehicle that it's the tank that's causing the defeats, even when it's not. And that's something that's infuriating, when you know that even a tank with big weaknesses like the Object 260 is doing best on your team, and by a landslide at that, and you're still losing massively. Well, today's video was inspired by a comment that was posted about, I'd say 2 or 3 weeks ago. I made a video on something on how to win or something like that, and one of the comments posted in that video was telling me how instead of showing games where the teams went well and, you know, doing everything right, how about a game where your team does really bad? What do you do when your team falls apart? And the reason I never made a video on that until now is because there's really not much you can do if your team falls apart. And take it from me, I'm averaging normally about 70% win rate in Tier 10 for World of Tanks Blitz. And the fact that when I see a bad team happen, I know it's a defeat, just shows how incredibly hard it is to carry a terrible team. Now, carrying battles is usually based on luck, because the difference here is, sure, there are scenarios where you can run a vehicle like the 260, and, you know, that 6,000 damage game, maybe it could have been a victory if things went well for me. But the issue is, they didn't, because that 6,000 damage game, I had an E3 that was AFK the entire game. And because of that, there's nothing I could have done to win that battle. We started off with a 6 versus 7, and that's just it. And it goes the exact same scenario for this battle. You're going to notice I was very heated. I'm already saying that 4 of you don't know how to play, because basically our entire team is pushing into the back of the map to camp by the buildings on town of Port Bay. Basically the worst doomsday scenario you can ever get for teammates in this game. Yeah, it was quite a bad battle to start off with. So right now I've changed my mind. I'm thinking, okay, normally I'm going to push here. I'm going to try and push for that 1-2-1-Bs, but already I know, okay, well, that's just pointless. My team is already clearly just blown this game. There's no point on trying to help the team anymore. My 1-2-1-B's already getting absolutely demolished. What am I going to do to win this battle? Well, I've already thought that I'm not going to win it, which is correct. You're going to see this battle be a very bad defeat. In fact, one of the worst battles you'll probably ever see in the game. And because of that, I basically predicted that instantly in my mind. So I'm thinking, okay, we got the grill in front, and basically the rest of the team has been spotted behind me. So I'm going to drive away from that, try and maybe come up behind a lone straggler, you know, somebody that's away, and that's exactly what I run into. We run into a mouse over here, and this mouse, I'm going to say he's not the best player. Same for the Yag Tiger that's got spotted over here. I think he shoots like HE at me or something. So because of this, I'm going to take advantage of these 2 players. I'm going to shoot these 2 guys the entire game. And sure, I'm not going to contribute anything to winning this battle, because of course shooting a mouse the entire game does nothing. That mouse still had like 1,000 hit points left at the end of the game. He wouldn't have made a difference if I had shot him or not. The reason that I purposely went for this mouse, and it was a player that doesn't seem fantastic, is because I know that I can make a much more sizable impact on my game and my statistics by shooting somebody and getting more damage than trying to support my team. Because if we take a look at my team real quick, well, yeah, our grill is a one-shot, our Hori's a one-shot, our 183 is half health, the IS-8's, nah, he's actually not doing too bad, but you're just gonna watch, there goes the grill, IS-8 just got shot, our Hori's gonna die. Like, wow, wait until you see just how quick our team falls apart. We already know our 1-2-1-B is basically a one-shot as it is. Yeah, it was quite sad watching this team fall apart as quickly as they did. Our full health IS-8 is now a one-shot. He's going to be taken out. Yep, there goes the IS-8. The 183 is also basically a one-shot. There went our 183. And that was it. That was a 7 versus 6. Changed to a 3 versus 6 that quickly. And that just shows you how bad players are in World of Tanks Blitz. And the issue is, you can't carry them. And then the incredible part is our 183 that basically went all the way on his own, sat in the back of the map and died, complained about the team being bad. It's even more sad when people don't understand how to play their own tanks. But here we go. Now let's look at these two guys. Yes, that's right. You saw it for a split second, but our full health Kampfpanzer and 121B drowned themselves. Yeah, that was one of the most angry games I had. Basically, when I saw that, I smashed my hand on my table, and I'm surprised I didn't break my glass table. Speaking of smashing stuff, if you'd like to see more videos like this, please consider smashing that subscribe button down below. But that first game basically says it all. If you're in a scenario like that, there is nothing whatsoever. If I had drank vodka, if I had praised to the Lord of Putin himself, or whatever it is, Stalin, it wouldn't have changed whatsoever. I could have done 9 million damage that game, and the team still would have thrown that battle. And that shows you something. You can't win every game. In fact, most games where your team falls apart too quickly, you can't win. So my advice is farm damage. Ignore your team. Don't help them because they haven't helped you at all the entire game. Strictly focus on getting out as much damage as you possibly can. Now, the second bit of thing I wanted to talk about in today's video is win rate. Is win rate important? Because this is something a lot of clans judge by, especially top clans. If you wanted to get into them, let's say Void, Pramo, Rain, anything like that, you know, you need to meet Rex. And usually, you need to have a decently high win rate. I personally agree somewhat with win rate, but I also don't. I think win rate at a max should be about 60%, and then you should be considered good. Because the issue is, win rate is all subjective. I could play a Smasher for 1,000 games and raise my win rate 5%. But then a player can use a vehicle like the Object 260 and work their balls off and only get 50%. And they might, you know, average the same I did. But because they're playing a tank that's not amazing, they couldn't win every game. And that's a perfect example to show how win rate is completely subjective. You can fake it. Now, of course, you can also use win rate smart. With blitzstars.com, the website, you can look at 30-day statistics for tier 10 vehicles. But even then, I just don't like win rate because it's never something that is consistent. It's either you get a lucky streak or you get an unlucky streak. Your teams either are good or your teams are bad. And sure, you can pretty easily average out how much you're going to average in tier 10. I average about 70% in tier 10, and even though I did awful in this tank today, there'll be a day when I play it and I do great. But the annoying thing is that there are days like this where you can try as hard as you can. You can average 3,500 damage and completely lose. So because of that, and for anybody wondering if win rate is the end-all be-all of World of Tanks Blitz, it's not. It really isn't. You should focus more on damage than win rate. You should honestly be like, okay, you know what, I'm averaging 2,000 damage in tier 10. Because if you think about it, if you're able to get about 2,000 damage out in your tank in tier 10, and your teammates all do 2,000 damage, that's 14,000 damage. And the average tier 10 team has about 12,000 hit points. So if you do the math there, yeah, all you need is about 2,000 damage to win a battle. That's it. Every teammate. It's not even that much damage. It's quite easy to do, honestly, when you think of it like that, right? So the annoying thing is that players just don't get out much damage. So my advice would be, don't focus on winning the battle. Focus more on getting damage out. Now this is, of course, only if your teams are falling apart. That is what I'd like to say. Because the thing that you can always remember is on a victory, you know, you might not get that much damage out. When you win a game, like any games I win, I'll probably maybe do 3,000 to 3,500, but I'm not going to do any ridiculously high damage games because usually victories, you don't do that much high damage. But when you think about it, defeats like this one here, or that defeat on Oasis Palms where I did 6,000 damage, the reason I did so much damage was because my team all sucked, and I was able to use that. Oh, there goes Blitz restarting. But I was able to use that to my advantage by getting damage off of them being bad. So that's my advice, is when your teams are falling apart, don't focus on winning, focus on getting damage, because that way, when you get a victory, you've already had a 3,000, 4,000 damage game, and then all you do is win the game and don't even worry about the damage, because bam, 4,000 and a 2,000 equal 3, and you're doing great. That's my personal opinion. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below, but other than that, stay happy, stay healthy, and I'll be seeing you in the next one. Bye-bye.